Okay, so today we're working on isolating quantities. And what that means is that we can solve for length or find the equation in terms of length. Both of these instructions, wherever is these two things, this is the variable we want isolated. Okay? Now, we can take something like, what does it mean to be isolated? Isolated means to be by itself. Okay? This can also be called solving literal equations. Isolating quantities is what Khan Academy calls it on the SAT practice. Okay. So if I say solve for x and my equation is y equals 3x minus 6, then what variable do I want by itself? I want x by itself. Okay. That means that I'm going to try and highlight. I'm going to highlight what I want by itself, and I'm going to get rid of everything else. So in order to get x by itself, I'm going to peel it like an onion. The layer that's farthest away is what I'm going to move first. So I'm going to get y plus 6 equals 3x. And then I want to divide by 3 because 3 is being multiplied by x. And so on your list of options on the test, it might be y over 3 plus 2, or it could be y plus 6 over 3. In this first one, I just divided 3 into both of my terms, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 3 doesn't go into y, so it just stays that way. Okay, so if I say solve E equals IR for R, what variable do I want by itself? R. What's happening to R? It's being multiplied by I. Good. So how do I get rid of a multiply by I? I'm going to divide by I on both sides. And my answer will be R equals E divided by I. All right, so let's try a more difficult one. Let's do the area of a trapezoid. Do you guys remember what that is? Area equals 1/2 height times B1 plus B2. And the instructions are solve for B1. Whenever I get this, I really like to underline or highlight what variable I'm looking for, because sometimes you might get your variable that you're solving for in two different places, and then you got to worry about making sure that they're all combined, and we got to, solve for that problem. So that helps me recognize if I've got it in multiple places. All right, so because I'm starting inside my parentheses, I have to do everything outside my parentheses before I can get inside my parentheses, right? The parentheses is locked until everything outside of it is gone. Isn't that right? Okay. So I want to get rid of my 1/2. How do I get rid of my 1/2? Multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And I'm going to get 2a equals height times B1 plus B2. Now, I still have something outside of my parentheses. What's still outside my parentheses? The h. And it's doing what to the parentheses? It's multiplying, so how do I get rid of it? Divide it, so I'm going to divide both sides by, good. These cancel out. And I'm going to get 2a over h equals b1 plus b2. Do you notice that I dropped the parentheses? Why can I drop the parentheses? Because there's nothing really forcing it to say that this is a group anymore. All right, I still want my b1, right? What's being done to b1? It's being added by b2. How do I get rid of plus b2? Minus b2 on both sides. And I get a little bit. So 2a over h minus b2 equals b1. Are we okay with that? Okay. All right, let's try solve I equals Pn over Rn plus A for n. Now, what do you guys notice?
I have a question.
Yes?
Is Rn a variable together or is R multiplied by n?
It's R times n. Okay. What do you guys notice for this problem? There are two n's, right? So I'm going to highlight my two n's because I need to worry about both of those. Okay, when we have something like this, which is that it's in a fraction form, I want to get rid of the fraction. How do I get rid of the fraction? Can I cross multiply?
Yeah.
So I'm going to get I times Rn plus A equals Pn. I really love getting rid of fractions. Yes. Get rid of all the fractions. The thing is that my n is now inside of a parentheses, isn't it? So what do I have to do to get rid of that parentheses? I'm going to have to distribute. I'm going to distribute, okay? I could I could divide the I on both sides, but then I'm going to get a fraction again, and I don't want to deal with a fraction because I have n on both sides of my equation, right? Okay, so I'm going to get IRN plus IA equals PN. You guys following me? All I did was distribute that I. Now, I still have n's on both sides. I want all my variables that I'm solving for on one side. Is that okay? Okay. So I'm going to move my IRN from my left side to my right side. Is that fair? Is that fair? Because I've already got one n on one side. I don't want to like move three things around. How do I move this IRN? I'm going to subtract it. Minus IRN on both sides. So I get IA equals PN, that's weird, minus IRN. Yep. These are all variables. They all stand for something. I don't actually know what this equation is, but I'm sure it's a thing. All right. Now, I've got the same term I've got the same variable in two terms, right? And I want that variable by itself. So what am I going to do? Do you guys recognize that I can factor it out? Okay. That means I can divide everything by n and just pull it out here. So IA equals n. And then what's left is P minus IR. You guys following me? And do you guys see that I finally got the n by itself?
Yes.
I only have one n now, and that means I'm on the right track. But what's happening to n?
It's being multiplied by p.
It's being multiplied by that parentheses, right? I can treat the parentheses like a single thing. Like a grocery bag has a bunch of stuff in it. And if you pick up the grocery bag, you've just picked everything up, right? You don't need to pick up everything in the grocery bag one by one, right? You're like, just move the grocery bag, okay? So I'm going to divide by my quote-unquote grocery bag on both sides. These cancel out. And this is my final equation. N equals IA over P minus IR. And we've solved it. Okay, just a final reminder about how we're going to deal with all right, can you guys look at this one? I want to solve for x. What's happening to x?
It's being multiplied.
It's being multiplied? Okay, so it's being multiplied and what?
Exponent.
It's being squared. So I'm going to have to undo both of those things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to divide both sides by 3. It's like reverse PEMDAS, right? You have to get rid of your addition subtraction first, then your multiplication division, then you get rid of your exponents, then you get rid of your parentheses. So y over 3 equals x squared. Still wanting my x, but I still have my squared. How do I get rid of my squared? I square root it. Thank you. And so I get x equals root y over 3.